this material is from the Sefirot
Mhm.
and meditation. So taking the two concepts and melding them together by Rabbi Abraham Aryeh Chochmah. So I'm using his text material as the basis for just one segment that is in the book. And what I want to do is look at Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at, because there's so many parallels to the balancing of yin and yang, right side, left side, and you'll see as we develop. So Chochmah in Hebrew, it means wisdom, and it's the right side of the brain, and it's related to the male element, male attributes of the body. Bina is understanding, and that's the left side, and the female concepts within the sphere. And da'at is knowledge, and it's the balancing act between the right and the left comes down into da'at. So if we look at all of this 10 spherot, which actually there's 11, starts with Keter at the very top, and it's in its own class. So we're going to cut off the Keter and go Chochmah Bina Da'at replaces Keter in many discussions, so that you have 10 Sefirot. You either have Keter or Da'at within the 10. If you look at a diagram, you'll see. And it will make sense as we develop why we are dealing with the Da'at here, because of the balancing of Chochmah and Binah, and not looking at the spiritual Keter way up out of touch from us. We're dealing with things that we can touch and work with. And so Chochmah and Binah, being the male and the female, they give rise to a new birth of an idea, which is the knowledge. So first we have wisdom, understanding, and together the balancing act is pure knowledge. So in our practice today, we're going to try to balance our right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, so that we have the ability to work. One doesn't override the other. They can work together in unison and create new ideas. So Chochmah can be divided into two: koach and ma. Koach, the power of what? Um, Chochmah in Hebrew, divided in half. Koach, ma. What power? So we're saying that we have to create an ability to envision new things. Ma, what is it? What's going on? The ma. And we want to grab that ma and bring it down. The code for this inner motivation aspects of the Chochmah. So we're going to be meditating on what? That's the whole concept. That's what brings meditation um, into the picture. But before, we always have this theory that we actually don't abide to, that do a meditation and don't think of a white elephant. Many people have heard this description of what is pure meditation. Sitting in a static position and don't think of anything, but don't think of a white elephant. So all of a sudden you're just like, how do I get, you already told me, don't think, and it's stuck in my mind. It's there, and I have to get rid of it in order to not think about anything. It's a vicious circle, and it really is taking you in the total wrong direction. So within the Kabbalistic concept, what we're trying to do is get rid of the ego. It's not that don't think of a white elephant, it's get rid of the ego, so that now we're in a much better state of mind. We're not the center of the universe. There's something else. Could be the spiritualities, Hashem, but we get rid of our ego. We'll have that much more space to meditate on other concepts. And that's our whole goal. The first step is nullify the ego to allow us then to take the next step. Bitul is what we mean by get rid of, to cancel. And this bitul, or removing ego, then helps us to get onto a higher level of consciousness, because we're no longer thinking of ourselves. So Rav Trugman says practicing like meditation in prayer and contemplation helps us set the ego aside in order to become conduits for the higher level of wisdom. It's up to you to choose what higher level that you want. If we want to do it in a meditative state for health reasons, then we'll use different exercises within the Qigong concepts and opening vessels and opening segments of the body to purify the body, to open and have health. But we can also get rid of the ego in order to bring down higher levels of spirituality. So we can go in both directions, and we're still working within the confines of our goal. So we can look at a very interesting thing of Hebrew words. Ani is I, and ein means without, nothingness. And they have the same letters. Ayin, Nun, Yud is Ani, I, and Aleph, excuse me, not Ayin, Aleph, Nun, Yud is I, and Aleph, Yud, Nun, divine nothingness, Ein. The Ein Sof, nothing is, no end, it's like everything, or just Ein. Aleph Yud Nun and nothingness. So we go from Ani, Aleph Nun Yud, and Ein, nothingness. That's how you get rid of the ego, that the relationships between the two. So we look at Job, it's quite interesting. He has a quotation, 18:12. But wisdom from where? Me'ayin, from where? The word me'ayin. But wisdom from where will it be found, and where is the place of understanding? So we're sitting here and we're saying, I got rid of myself and I'm looking, everything is empty. So from where now do I get understanding? So we all of a sudden, understanding is Binah. That's the second sphere. So we started with Chochmah, and with that Chochmah, we're bituling, we're getting rid of the ego, and it naturally then brings us, where are we going with this? Me'ayin ani olech, where am I going? To the understanding. So now we're into the second sphere. So it could be a question or could be a statement. Kabbalistically, we're saying it's actually a statement. It says that Chochmah comes from the connecting the level of the Ein, of the nothingness, and this nothingness then plants a seed in a womb, and that is the female part. That was where the male was the male. The Chochmah puts the seed from nothing into the womb, and that then creates something. That's the creativity. So when we say, from where does the knowledge come? It comes from the two sides, the male and female side. And everything divides from that. So if we want to look at this as a meditation, so that's what we meditate on. We could be any concept. It could be any thought pattern. We balance our yin and yang with the Chochmah and and the Binah, we get it all down, and we think of a concept. It's like a flash of light. The Chochmah is the flash of light, which then goes into the Binah, and we start building something. Binah is from the word boneh, to build. So we took the tools, we put it over on the left side, and that energy then builds something. So Chochmah and Binah, wisdom and understanding, are like two companions who never part. And we get this flash of light, gives it to the mother, to the Binah, and nurtures it, and that turns into a reality. So interesting, the root of Binah is boneh, to build, and the qualities of Binah, this building, in Jewish concept is similar to hitboneneh. The word hitboneneh is the root, same root, boneh, hitbonenit. What is it? Meditation. So we're building with this concept, using the words, similar words give similar outcome. And they create a relationship. So meditation itself is that whole concept of taking the spark and putting it into a womb and working with. Now we're meditating on a new concept. And it could be, again, your spirituality meditation, or we can use all the rivers, think about one river at a time, think about one organ at a time, and meditate on these things to create our either inner peace or healthy flowing of the energy. So once the mind is clear, we have this ability to meditate with it. So now that we take this one step further, and the meditation doesn't just stay on its own. It goes all the way down to the rest of the body. Within the concept of the Kabbalah, the Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at are a division, right and left, and then also up and down. All the rest of the body is controlled by the mind, and we're working now, before it gets into the emotions and before it gets into the building blocks of physical exercise, where we want to work on the mind and really balance this out to help us in our lives. So one last thing, this power to actualize, again, words from Rabbi Trugman, this power to actualize and to bring down to the earth this intellect is a unique property of Da'at, and the knowledge. The power of this Da'at is more than simply integrating the two Sefirot. It is creating a conceptualization of new ideas. That's where new ideas are built. And that's the essence of what's so important. As first we talked about the Chochmah and the Binah, but it doesn't stop there. We have to take it to the Da'at, the next level of this intellectual, intelligent. Say a scientist will take all these tools and put it together and come up with a whole new concept, a cure for cancer. That's the Da'at. So without the Chochmah Binah working together, matures into the Da'at, creates the new cure. Cure for cancer was created because of these two things that were working together. So our goal will be then to strengthen all of this together, so that within our body we'll be able to create, man, I'm not going to cure cancer today, but the body has its way of then doing the exercises for the rest of the day, the tasks for this day, maybe using new knowledge and doing it in more peace, or just healing the body itself because of the tools that we balanced out and worked with. So how do we do all of this? So now let's just do the tools that we've learned already in our Qigong uh, formulas. And we're going to start by just warming up. And it's not the heavy warming up. I'm just going to let me change my angle. So I want to do just a basic warm up of just relaxed motion and not the heavy joint warm up that we sometimes do. We're starting very relaxed, but feeling we're bringing it up from the earth, but it doesn't go very far yet, just coming up through the legs and into the center. Very slow and very relaxed. And then now we can bring it up a little higher. Up to the shoulders. It's coming up through the legs. And then come up even higher to the head and above. And a little more aggressive. And the bounce. And we can add our head. So you can give a little neck massage if it allows it. And a little more aggressive bounce at the bottom. Kind of like you're shaking the bottle, the liquid in the bottle. And now, again, because we want to really balance the right and left, yin and yang. So I want to do it one side at a time, or at the same time, but opposite sides. I call it the cross-country skiing. And again, we can bob the neck if you want, a little massage. And now we want to do a different plane. So we're just up to the shoulders, back and forth, and each time a different hand, bring it up to the face now, and a different hand is close to the face each time we bring it up. Our feet at this time are flat, but now I want to take this and make it go around, so I make my heel come up, out, heel up. Again, it's at the same plane, but I'm changing the heel. And now I want to put the toe up when I come across, toe up. And changing it up a little, it massages slightly different. Trying to really balance off. Right and left is our emphasis. And then we'll bring it into the center. Now, I want to go all the way around, flat-footed, come up, palms up, around the top of our head, and then down, up, and down. And we're bringing the center of energy up higher with this. Up and around above our head. And now we go the other way, and it's a serpent coming up and then pushing, I'm sinking so you can see, pushing down with the hands. Circling up through the center and then down. Our goal will be really to work on right and left and center. We're finding these passageways down center, which we'll be working on. Around. And then one last beating, touching different spots as we make the turns. Back and front, slapping. I don't know if you can hear it. And we do it again, the feet up on the heel with the slapping. And then on the toe. Same as before, but we didn't slap the first time. And then we come together, bring our hand onto the lower dantian, and just settle in. Settle in. And I would say this one is emphasizing that as a male, I'm going to put my right hand on my lower dantian, and females should put the left hand on. Because we really do want to work with the male and female sides of the body and where our own connections are, personal connections based on male and female characteristics of the body. So don't copy me, but do it according to yourself. So now breathing in and out into the lower dantian, balancing everything else, stabilizing everything. Breathing in and slowing down, breathing in through the nose, down to the lower dantian, and out again. Now, what's interesting is we generally have been emphasizing the lower dantian in most of our practices. But being Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at is really up in the mind. Some of the exercises that we're going to be doing is going to bring it up. So we want to stabilize it now, but over the course of some exercises, we're going to try to raise it up into the brain area, because that's where all of this thought patterns and meditation is going to be originating from. So the first thing that we want to do is basically work on balancing right and left. So we come together with our palms, just breathing in and going up, back up so you can see them just straight above my head. They breathe in and then breathe out, come down. And breathing in, feeling the pressure of the hands, plural, meeting in the middle and creating this balance, yin and yang, on right and left, breathing in and breathing out. And feeling where the pressure from right and left, where is it? as it follows up through the spine, you can feel it coming up the spine above you. As you're breathing out, we can feel it right in the level of where the hand is. And it's changing the center of gravity as we move the hand up and down. Now, let's do the same thing, but push as hard as you can, and with the emphasis that I want to make sure my hands are right up through that center line. And I'm pushing, it's really hard, the hands way up, and I'm pushing them as hard as possible. Lots of pressure, yet I'm not pushing it out of whack. I'm helping myself stay right on that line. And the pressure that I feel really emphasizes the body. Here I feel my shoulders because it's so much pressure. And now it's coming down to the lungs and heart and coming down further into the hips. I feel them because that's where my hands are. I want to concentrate on that and where the pressure is on the center line, as well as the pressure from the extreme right and left. 2 more times with as heavy a pressure as possible. There's 1. And then 2. Really heavy pressure. And now I relax, and I'm just touching the hands as lightly as possible. And I follow through the same pattern. Get back so you can see more, but it's just like floating. That pressure is like when you're a kid and you pushed your arms against the side of a door. And now, because I'm relaxed, the hands are just floating up. And I want to follow that center line and just have it float in the pattern all by itself, and concentrating on this equal side pressure that's almost not there. 1 more time. Okay, now as I come up, this time we know the exercise of pushing away and coming back. I'm going to change my angle just slightly more, chopping my head off, and I don't like that. So I push it all the way around, palms up, and holding it so they don't drop the marble in the palm, and just twisting, keeping the hands stretched away and palms up. It opens the shoulders. And this is opening up all of the channels that we're working with. We come around, feeling the twist, not only the waist, but the ankles and the neck. Everything's the twisting, it opens it all up. One more time back and forth as I'm opening this. And we're going to do something slightly different than in the past of doing this exercise. And that is that I'm not going to come from up and down. I'm going to go down, put the backs of my hand together, and then open up. And why I'm doing this is because I want to bring the energy from the lower dantian and bring it up to the brain, up to the head, and come around and then down. I breathe in, backs touching, backs of the hands, And then breathe out, palms going down. So instead of trying to pull energy up out of the earth, that was our end result in a similar exercise. This, I'm bringing the energy from the dantian up through the heart and up into the mind and down. So my right side, Chochmah, Binah, and the left side is coming up into the mind, the da'at. So I'm creating that strength of the da'at, which is my balancing of all three, not just one. Now this coming up, I want to do it more aggressively. I'm going to come up like a fountain and then relax, coming down. And make a fountain, really take that energy and pop it up, right up like a fountain coming up out of the top of your head. So bringing it up and then relaxing it down. And I feel it come right up the center, spreading a fountain, like a 4th of July fireworks coming right up. I feel that energy come up and putting it into a useful position. The Chochmah being a meeting in the middle, and then the dot creating that explosion of ideas. Ideas come together within it. The new knowledge is explodes out. And run it one more time after this. And now I want to collect it so it's breathing in the microcosmic orbit, coming up the backside, up over the top, and collecting it into the mind. And it's coming through the whole body, but the emphasis is that I'm bringing it up and around the top of the head, but keeping it within the body this time. It is going to come down through the middle of the body and up the outside again. Simulating that I've taken this Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at, and I'm going to be using it for the whole body. It's not just going to stay in the upper portions, but it is the control of the rest of the body after it's gotten its balance and strength and the ability for it to work together. Then breathe in, and then breathe out, comes up the back and down the front. One more time, and then down. So now that I've balanced it all out, I really want to work on the upper dantian a little more. So I want to take my hands, warm them up, and I'm excited. And without touching, I just want to put it up at the forehead and feel this activation even more of the upper dantian, which is where all of this really is. And the hand's proximity right there is helping establish a real new center away from the lower dantian. And then not just that I've got my hands away from it, but I can touch with one hand on top of the other, or you might use the whole hand on the head, whichever you want. I prefer this way, is touching the forehead. And I just want to have a little bit of massaging in a circle. And you can go back the other way. And once again, a new way. And I'm really feeling a lot of new stimuli in my whole upper dantian. We'll then go back the other way. In my opinion, we don't spend enough time up here. We're so busy with and go back the other way. Now get it going really fast and warm that whole thing up. Back and forth, and the whole thing is integrating as well as stimulation, creating these knowledge juices. And now tapping the front, the back, around, really stimulating the brain. One last, just holding the head, no more motion, and closing your eyes and just feeling, seeing if there's colors with your eyes closed. Are there spots? What's the integration up there? Feeling right and left. Warmth right and left, or just in the front. And feeling that there's just so much activity going on up in the brain. And breathing, slowing down a little. Breathing in and out. But this time the breath is coming into the upper dantian, not the lower like we used to do it earlier. Breathing in, and everything is accumulating the chi up into the upper brain, upper dantian. Breathe out. We're going to drop our hands, but keep your mental attitude on the upper dantian, just for a little bit more. Feeling the stimuli that's up there, all the sensations that are there. And this is where you can really expand for a much longer session. But we're just going to do one exercise and taking this ability to say, all right, I stimulated the thought processes up here, but for what purpose? Why did I want to create so much activity up there? And we'll just say, let's use our 12 rivers. And so on your own, you can pick 1, 2, 3, or go through the whole sequence of 12 rivers, but use this highly sensitive brain activity that's going on right now. Your Chochmah, Binah, and dantian, take that dantian and use it to create a new pattern. Not a new pattern, but go into one of your rivers. So if I might say I want my lungs, I'm going to come out of the shoulder and up to the thumb. I'm going to follow that. Can do it on both sides. You can pick another one where there's some sensitivity in your own or need to work on something. The exercise is simply to let you understand where's the beginning of a meditative state. How did you create the ability to get into a meditative state, and what can you do with that? Not to create an emptiness, but a tool. So my tool is to help with the metal element and help my lungs clear that whole energy pattern by going down those rivers. And after a while, you can feel this, and keeping the activity going. I'm seeing flashes in my upper dantian as I'm just doing this exercise. Got so stimulated, it's like fireworks up there. Then you might pick another one. You can pick the heart, you can pick the bladder, and anything that catches your fancy, just pick another river and follow through with it. And we're going to do that just for a minute. And remember that these rivers are only going in one direction, so you're kind of like going down the river and then popping back up to the top. And seeing that you have the ability to use your mind to work on this, not an exercise of breathing, not an exercise of physical motion, just the brain is doing the exercise because we really stimulated it. But now let's take it away from the river and use this Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at concept and just think of a problem that was blocking your daily activity, an action that you were having problems working on. And what are the elements? What are the characteristics of it? If it was helping another student work through an emotional problem, what are what's the science behind that issue? How do you put it all together? And what's your solution to help that person? So that's your da'at. Your da'at was now the creative juices are being able to come up with a new solution and get rid of that. That's a blockage. If it was there as an issue, as a problem, or a social interaction with someone, or just something in life that was creating a blockage. Take it apart and put it together into a new method and let that help you solve that issue. And look at it truly as a right meets left side of the brain and meeting in the middle with the balance to create that new solution. They say if this was the basis of a very long meditation, you could sit here for a long time, but we're only doing it as an exercise to learn how to at least start it, not necessarily finish it. And within the context of this new terminology, not just right and left and meeting in the center, but the Chochmah and Binah creating the Da'at to let us see how we can integrate our own religious and spiritual entity within the meditative state that we can put ourselves into. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a second, keep that going. I'm going to bring my hands not to my lower dantian. I'm going to bring them back up to the head and to the upper dantian. Hold this. Hold it without the massaging, but just bringing it all together. Feeling the warmth of the hands and this kind of the settling of the thought patterns, the energy, slowing it all down. Sliding that down to the center and holding the heart. Seeing that we didn't really work with the heart in this exercise, but we do want to bring it slowly down so that we don't get over excited in the mind. We can balance these centers just slightly before we finish. And then we bring it down even further into the lower dantian. Again, remember, female puts the left hand in, male puts the right hand in, and we're just integrating it all in. This is the storage center of the overall complete dantian, the big dantian with a big D instead of just the lower dantian. So I'm just balancing it all out and putting it into this reservoir, slowing it all in and integrating it, not just right and left anymore, but just everything. And then one last time through the microcosmic orbit to get it into a pattern that stays, this rhythm stays with us all the time, the circulation within, up the water, across and down the fire. That's going all of the time. And we just want to put it into a nice rhythm that will stay with us the whole rest of the day. Then relaxing. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, dust or something. And I just close off there with just this balance that we have. I'm gonna turn it off of the record. Where is it? There we go.